Hello, listeners. This is Lee Price.
This is Will Ford from Football 365.
And you're listening smartly to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast, although I would describe it as the Chelsea FC podcast.
Magical from Eden Hazard. Kai Havertz in the Champions League final. Ivanovic! In the middle, it's just behind him. But it's tapped in by Hakim. Matic with the ball driver. Matic takes the net off. Hat-trick hero. Cole Palmer wins an epic, sensational game.
It's time for another episode of At the Bridge Pod, your number one Chelsea FC podcast. Coming up on this episode, we have the player rankings. It's back. We haven't done it since November. Who's fell? Who's rose? There's no way I'm putting Robert Sanchez in my top 10 this time, though. Oh, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of At the Bridge Pod. I'm joined in the virtual room filled with lions. I've got Ollie. I've got Chris. I've got my cat, Tom. Welcome to the Friday show on a Friday. And, of course, I want to know what everyone's doing this weekend. There's always something.
Is there? Not if you're me.
Great start.
What I'm looking forward to this weekend is I'm looking forward to some peace and quiet. That's what I'm looking forward to. Because at the moment, my wife is really annoying me, who I love her very much, but she's doing my head in. So I'm looking forward to some peace and quiet this weekend.
Bloody hell. If you're listening, Ollie's wife,
she doesn't listen to this.
She actually occasionally does listen to it.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
we should get her on one day if she can defend herself.
Yeah. Chris, help me out here.
I actually do have something this weekend.
Nice. Always good.
Sunday, going to Kingsmeadow to watch Chelsea women against Everton women.
Is that three in a row? You've done three
in the Women's
FA
now. Cup. That is 3 in a row.
Wow.
There is a very good reason for this one, though.
Oh.
I'm going to this one because my daughter is a mascot.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
That's really cool.
So she's going to walk out with the players. She's really hoping to meet
Does she know which
Cucurella.
player she's going to get?
Well, no, because the 11 hasn't been put out yet.
It's
you never know.
It's completely random. They just stand in a place and then it's whoever you get on the day.
Is that why Cole Palmer had that really tall?
No, they did that shit on purpose. I've never seen such a deliberate post.
Imagine if they'd have put a 6-foot mascot next to N'Golo Kante and just gone, where's he? Right, I'm just going to get it out of the way nice and early. Yeah, NFL, Super Bowl. I said I wasn't going to watch it. I said I had a tantrum. I acted like a big child, and now I've retracted my statement, and I'm watching it. So there you go.
Who is playing in the Superb Owl this year?
That would be the redacted team that I refused to talk about because I didn't want them in their third Super Bowl against the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm rooting for the Birds. I'm rooting for the Eagles.
Who are they actually playing, though? Is it
Against
Cowboys
the Kansas City Chiefs?
Chiefs.
Oh, the Chiefs. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Basically,
Taylor Swift's boyfriend's team.
Yeah.
Even though they were good.
Well, just going to Primark, that will tell you enough because there's always, if the popular teams get merch in Primark, so you go in, you see the Chiefs, you see the Raiders.
That's properly weird, that, isn't it? Like when you go into Primark and you start seeing merch for American, I suppose it's quite an interesting corner of the market to have, but
it's easy.
I don't know. It must sell well here, but I don't know if it should.
Wow, you're getting your post on the At the Bridge Pod getting redacted. I don't want you on here if you're gonna have that attitude.
Oh, just saying.
Right.
It can't be that popular.
Fuck off. Right. Time for my games of the weekend. Right. What's on the menu? But not Ollie. Ollie can piss off right now. But anyway, all times are GMT. Time zones are confusing. I want to keep it simple for you. So GMT. First up, Friday night. Yes, it's probably already been played out by the time you hear this, but I have to mention it. PSG v Monaco, 8 p.m. So it's not kicked off whilst we're recording. That's a tasty clash straight away. Tasty. Saturday night, we're going to go off to Spain. We got a big one. We got Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, 8 p.m. First versus second. Madrid derby. There's going to be drama. There's going to be goals. There's going to be Diego Simeone prowling the touchline like a man who's misplaced his wallet. And then on Sunday, 4:30 in Germany, we've got an absolute grudge match. RB Leipzig v St. Pauli, because these two just don't get on. For context, St. Pauli once genuinely refused to let Leipzig use its stadium for a German Cup game simply because they were one of the teams involved. Leipzig were.
That's so petty. I love it so much.
And long story short, Leipzig, the defending champions of the competition, had been drawn against FC Teutonia Ottensen in the first round. St. Pauli wasn't having any of it to you because obviously it's like the rules with stadium and safety. St. Pauli Stadium was thrown up and they just went no because obviously they don't like Red Bull's ownership model because obviously the 50+1 rule. So it's not about football, it's about principles. And I'll touch on last week's reserve, my picks. Bit of a lucky dip, bit of a shit dip. Some games great, others waiting for the kettle to boil. The Melbourne Women's Derby, I said City versus Victory ended in a 1-1 goal. 1-1 goal, a 1-1 draw.
1-1 goal.
Well, there was a goal in the first 5 minutes and then a goal in the last 5 minutes. Between then, not great. Italy, we had the Milan Derby and the Napoli v Roma game. They finished 1-1. Marseille-Lyon lived up, though. They lived up to it. Second half was much better than the first half. That was awful. But the second half, chaos. 5 goals. Lyon took an early lead. Marseille roared back. Lyon equalised. Marseille snatched it in the 85th minute. What more can I say? It was. I don't know what I'll get out of this weekend.
You should just recommend watching Leverkusen every week because they always seem to score in the last dying seconds of the game.
That is so true. That is so true. You know what? I have a Shevva shout out. And it's from Matt in Swindon. He doesn't put the UK on that, so I'm assuming it's Swindon in the UK. I don't know if Swindon is another place. I'd like to know, actually.
Swindon, Kazakhstan.
Right. Great podcast. Really like the way you say it how it is, not looking at things through Chelsea tinted glasses, and also like how you treat the women's team with the same respect as the men's team. Keep up the good work. That last sentence was exactly what meant a lot to me. The whole thing means a lot to me, but the fact that we have now got that as a platform, I fucking love it, especially after certain dickheads on certain radio stations this week decided to say what they were saying. I'm like, shut up, Alan.
Thank you, Matt from Swindon, Kazakhstan.
Yeah. It's Swindon around the world. Where's this going to take?
There's going to be another Swindon. There'll be one in America somewhere.
How many places? There are 4 places in the world named Swindon, and they are all in the UK.
Wow.
Oh, well. Anyway, with that, I suppose we've got to hit the news. Where's the button? Right, that time of the week where we check out the news that you may have missed in the elevator. Chelsea news. João Felix left Chelsea because he personally asked for a new opportunity. Georgi Petrovic is still likely to leave Chelsea this summer despite his strong form. Mathis Amugu is expected to be loaned to Strasbourg next season. Chelsea believe their focus on bringing down base salaries and recruiting youth is creating an environment where even signings who do not work out at the bridge still attract buyers. Chelsea are already planning next season with Andre Santos in their team. Football Manager 2025 has been cancelled, so our sporting directors have been gutted by that. And finally, the Premier League will monitor player goal celebrations and may consider imposing sanctions if
Utter
they feel
woke nonsense.
they are damaging the reputation of the league.
Upset.
I'm glad you said that because look, the NFL once was mocked as the no fun league for cracking down celebrations until they realised that's ridiculous and they made a U-turn and adjusted that rule. If the Premier League doing that, that's the same joyless footsteps in my opinion.
I was gonna say because now it's not even the players can celebrate goals, right? And neither can the fans because of VAR. So it's just like the ball goes in the net and you're just gonna have total silence across the entire stadium.
It's the best. The goal set. Look, if it's Adebayor level when he did it against Arsenal, I sort of could understand that point.
That is good because of what he did.
I loved it, but I'm saying that I understand the safety part of that. But when it was like Vardy tapping, look, goal celebrations are what makes football so great. And like I said, some of the most iconic moments in history came from players losing themselves in the moment. And let them celebrate how they want. I don't want to see a striker scoring a 90th minute winner and just reacting like he's signed for an Amazon Prime delivery. No,
exactly. What did you get sent off for, mate? Oh, serious foul play, accidentally broke a player's leg. What did you get sent off for? Oh, I pretended to be a seagull.
And what? Yeah, that was pathetic. What the yellow card offence, not actually doing it. And while we're at it, scrap that yellow card shit for taking his shirt off. I don't care. Let him get the chest hair out. I remember when Giggs and Forlan would do it. And you're like, bloody hell.
It's nothing to do with that. It's the sponsors.
I know. Go on,
To be
Chris.
fair, though, Chelsea players should be allowed to take their top off then because we don't have one.
Oh, yeah,
I,
that's a good point.
Yeah,
I
that's
just,
true.
I just think it's like with celebrations, you can't get rid of the little bit of shithousery in football. Like the banter's part of it, and it like that player doing the seagull celebration in front of the Brighton fans. That is funny. It's like
Yeah.
when Jamie Vardy did the wolf thing at Wolves when he scored.
Yeah. And
That
you
is
know what?
that is funny. And no, and yes, sure, people are going to be pissed off in the moment, but it's not offensive, is it? Like you're not
No.
going to walk out the stadium going, "Oh my God, I was so offended by that." Jesus God, there's bigger issues in football than players celebrating.
Can I just
Yeah.
say, also, talking of pointing at badges, Willian did that against Spurs fans like 7 odd years ago. It's still great. Still great to
Yeah.
watch it. It's like, we sucked this season, but hey.
I even want to defend like Lewis Skelly when he scored against Man City and did the Haaland, right?
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah,
he's well within his rights to do that. Now he looks like a bit of a dickhead because of like, what he won compared to Haaland. But at the same time, he should be allowed to do it. Rattle the cage.
Damn right.
It's what the sport is for.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. I've got to move to something in the news because but before we do discuss the Vivid ticket story, Chris, you weren't on Tuesday's show and we didn't get to hear your thoughts about our deadline day. And listeners did message us on Instagram and other places to go, I want to hear his thoughts because of what little happened. Go on, Chris. I am curious myself.
apt name, Deadline Day. Just that's what it was, wasn't it?
Well,
Farce.
great.
It was an absolute farce. I mean, we signed this absolute nobody who I will be amazed if he kicks a ball in a Chelsea shirt more than 3 times. Then he'll go on loan to Strasbourg and then we'll sell him. And that's exactly what will happen. You can see it already. So basically, we didn't sign anybody. And the players we did let go, with the injuries we've got now, looks even worse.
Yeah.
You know, like the whole... I know Felix wasn't playing, but then you look at it and you think, well, Marc Gu's injured. Jackson might be injured, which means if we go into the Conference League and those two are still injured and Kunku's got to be playing up front in that competition and in the Premier League, and then Cole Palmer might have to play in the Conference League because we haven't got another number 10.
No.
So you just think the squad planning is ridiculous. And I don't think we made a single good move on deadline day. You know,
Do you think it's better to not panic on deadline day though?
I to be honest, yeah, I haven't necessarily got a problem with us not bringing anyone in, but I wouldn't have let anyone go then either.
Yeah, I agree with
that's
that.
fair.
Yeah. By the way, Mathis Amugu on EAFC has a potential of 81.
I mean, that is shit in itself. I release youth players who have a potential of 81.
Wow. Oh my word. Didn't disappoint, listener. Told you. Right. Talking of you, listener. Dill asked on Blue Sky for our thoughts on a story you may have seen this week surrounding Chelsea owner Todd Boehly and a company called Vivid Tickets. You may be sat there thinking, don't really know what the deal is. Can you explain it to me, please? I'd love to. So, Todd Boehly is an investor and a director of Vivid Seats. They're a ticket exchange site that resells Premier League tickets at highly inflated prices, despite the Premier League listing it as an unauthorised ticket website. The UK law prohibits reselling football tickets this way, yet tickets for Chelsea's upcoming matches have been listed for as much as £6,604.
Jesus Christ.
It's
Who's
a lot,
paying
isn't it?
that to watch us play?
No,
Jesus
no.
Christ.
Chelsea.
I might pay it to not watch us play.
Yeah.
The club have publicly stated it is committed to tackling ticket touting and investigates fans selling tickets above face value. Meanwhile, the Chelsea Supporters Trust has criticised Boehly's links to Vivid Seats, calling it a breach of trust and urging him to address the issue. Vivid Tickets claims it complies with regulations and does not allow UK sellers to list EPL tickets, asserting that pricing is set by individual sellers, not the platform itself. Chelsea as a club have declined to comment. Oh my word. I mean, for years, Chelsea's ticketing system worked in a way, my understanding, that meant season ticket holders and members obviously had the best chance of securing seats for games. It's not a perfect system. No, I don't think anything can ever be, but at least you kind of knew that the majority of tickets were going to actual fans. I think from my point, I kind of get it's like good luck if you're a member trying to get a ticket, because this week I've spoke to a fair few members who tried to get tickets for a game, not just this season, but also last. And they've all sort of told me that very similar stories, that it's near impossible. I mean, one fan who I said will remain anonymous told me that they struggled to get a ticket for one of the away trips in the Conference League. And man, the biggest reason is sites like, not exclusive to Vivid Seats, but it's those sort of resale platforms that scoop up tickets and then flog them, because that happens in lots of stuff. Like, it's also in, like, for me, music and gigs. They're ridiculous, the markup. And look, what is the result? What is the result of all this? You get a soulless atmosphere. And I've banged on about the lack of noise at the bridge enough times already. And it does sometimes become a library for half the games, but it's not a Chelsea exclusive thing, I don't think. I think this is clearly happening across the league. And look, if it keeps up, especially the pricing, real fans will stop going because they won't be able to afford it. And that sucks. And the stadiums just become quieter. And then whether the viewership in TV drops, I don't know. But then that hype machine sort of just crashes down, and like the Serie A sort of did. I mean, maybe that just sounds dramatic, but look, I wouldn't be against it. I mean, I've seen Chelsea win everything. And if it takes the collapse of this money grabbing system to bring back real match fans, so be it. I'm just sick of not the real fans should get the tickets, and the ones it just sucks. It just sucks for me. I don't know how you all feel.
I think if it does come out in the end that it is Boehly's doing, then that's really poor. You know, and that needs to seriously be addressed. I think the biggest problem, like you say, Mikey, is the touting. It's people who have tickets in some capacity. Maybe they get them through a mate. Maybe they've got good access to them. Maybe they're a season ticket holder or a member, and you know they just straight up just flog their tickets every week on an exchange, and not even the official ticket exchange, but like on these sites, and then so because they can make a good deal of money off it over a season. And it's just sad because, like you say, it diminishes the atmosphere of games, and it's got to change. Something with the touting has got to change across the league because it's getting ridiculous now.
I mean, it's not exclusive to the UK either. I mean, everyone knows my love for Seattle Seahawks, and there was games this season where it felt like an away game. It felt like we were on the road because I think it was it Green Bay, and it was just full of away. And I'm like, why are you doing that? I get this. They're just basically they're selling the tickets for profit, and that does bug me, especially when you just lose home advantage. I mean, Chris.
I mean, I agree with everything you boys just said. I think if it comes out that Boehly is involved, and we'd need to find out where the money was going. If these inflated tickets, none of that money is being seen by the club, then that's really, really bad. I have a bit of a hot take on tickets though, just relating to sort of atmospheres. I think season ticket holders are the reason why atmospheres are bad.
Oh, okay.
That's very brave.
It's a brave move. I didn't say that.
No, so hear me out. Not because, obviously, fair play to them. People say that they're the biggest supporters of the club. I just think that's not true. Like they're just the people who have got the most. They've got money that they can afford to buy a season ticket. I'd love to go every week, but I can't physically afford that. So I don't think that should make you any less of a fan just because you haven't got £10,000 a season or whatever it is.
I agree.
To go to the games. But when you're in bad form, especially, it's the same people in there every week who are getting bogged down by the shit that they're seeing on the pitch. So if you're in a poor run of form and you happen to have 4 home games in a month,
it doesn't change if you're struggling. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, every time you go and you're watching your team struggle, the atmosphere dies after 10 minutes because the same fans who was there last week are seeing the same thing again. I think the atmosphere would be better if tickets was on general sale and you would get a different contingent of people in every single week who, they might only go to 2 games a season, but they'll really appreciate being at those 2 games. So
Sing their hearts out for the whole game.
yeah, whether the game's shit or good, they'll fully get into this sort of match day experience. I don't think it's season ticket holders' fault, by the way. I'm just saying, like, I think if you go to something enough, eventually you become immune to it. So it does sort of fall away, the atmosphere. I think when you look at the women's game, for example, I think the atmosphere at women's games is really good because they do have a lot of new fans every game. Like, it's not they do have a contingent, obviously, of season ticket holders, but especially when when the Chelsea women's team go to Stamford Bridge, for example, the atmosphere is always good because there's so many people there who are seeing them for the first time or only the second time that season. So they make the most of that experience. I think if I was to go to football every single week, to be honest, if I was going to watch us every single week, I wouldn't be saying anything in the crowd now either, because I'd be thinking, fucking hell, same shit again.
Yeah,
and I just think it can become quite negative.
I look, I'm not against reselling tickets. When I say that, I mean in the sense of you shouldn't be able to make profit off them, because we know people buy them to profit. They've done it for years. Like, that's what happens with music and everything.
It happens in everything, doesn't it? It happened with like the Taylor Swift tickets. It happened with Oasis tickets. Yeah. People buy up shitloads of them, knowing for a fact they're going to get highly inflated prices. Really, it's up to the people in charge to stop it. Like, there is ways of doing it. You can limit the amount of tickets people can buy. You could make people, because where did I go? I went somewhere, one of the stadiums, and it said that only the named person on the ticket can come in.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And you have to take ID with you. They didn't check it, so it was a load of bollocks. But that's what it said on the ticket. So, like, if I buy tickets in my name, I have to take ID and say that, yeah, that's your ticket. Yeah, okay, you can come in. And
I guess that's the thing is like, if you can't go last minute, you give it to a mate or something, then they can't go. Like, and
yeah.
So every, like you say, there are ways around it, but there's no perfect system, I think, which is what people are struggling with.
I don't think you're ever going to stop it, because it's something that's so difficult to police.
You might eventually be able to hold on it if eventually you've got all like digital tickets or something like that, no physical tickets whatsoever. It's like you get like a ticket ID, it gets sent through to your phone, then it's linked to something else that's linked directly to the card that bought it or whatever. Like, you know, it's, I don't know. Like you say, there's loads of ways to sort of try and do it, but I don't know. I think we're a long way off those kind of solutions.
I've got Michael dropped us a DM on Instagram about the atmosphere at the bridge, and it was too good not to share. And I spoke to him and said he was totally fine with me reading it out. So this is the message. Hi guys, always a cracking show. So first of all, thank you for that, by the way. Just want to address the atmosphere loser you guys had last week. I'm a home and away season ticket holder, and of course the away crowd are full voice and seem more involved. Might have something to do with the drinking on the train up to wherever. But with the home crowd, I sit in the Matthew Harding upper, and we do sing, not all the time, but also not only when we score. We try to put a shift in, unlike some of the players at the moment. Apart from the core people around my seat, faces change every other week. These guys are there to take photos and selfies with the large pictures on the concourse, not to watch or support the team. I'm not against tourism and people having flying visits. Chelsea is for everyone. But pals of mine are getting priced out of home tickets. No chance of getting an away ticket. All I'm saying is that we get 40,000 fans most weeks, but not all of them are supporters. That's the problem. Very, very good point.
And the part of the problem as well with Stamford Bridge is you notice that more with the size that the bridge is. We all love the bridge, we do.
Yeah.
But it's limited in its size and its capacity. That's just the fact. And until we get a stadium that has a bigger capacity to allow more fans in, the atmosphere is going to continue to struggle, I think.
I mean,
I think what people have got to remember is, yes, the atmosphere at Stamford Bridge isn't great and hasn't been for a while, but the team hasn't been great for a while. You know, everyone talks about, look at the atmosphere at Anfield. Yeah, it's great. Now they're winning.
Yeah.
But was the atmosphere at Anfield great when they was finishing 8th under Brendan Rodgers? No. Not after they finished singing "You'll Never Walk Alone." It went dead silent, you know. And I think people have to remember that that fans only react to what they're seeing on the pitch. If what they're seeing on the pitch isn't good, you can't be overly enthusiastic because you're frustrated or you're annoyed or you're disappointed.
I do think that's unique to English football though, because like you see it like the atmosphere out in like Turkey or like Greece or Germany even like like some of the atmospheres they have in the Bundesliga, and it's mental, and it's always like it always feels very above and beyond in ways that we just can't do here. So I
They're
I think
allowed
you're
to
right,
drink at their
Chris.
seats, so
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe we just need to let the booze back in and just let
yeah.
the chips fall where they may.
Oh, right. Let us know, listener. We're curious what you think about the Stamford Bridge and this ticket situation. Let us know. Right, time for a trip to Kingsmeadow Corner because Chelsea women took on West Ham in the League Cup semi-finals. It ended 2-0. Nice. Another Sonia win, another blue win. We're into the Subway League Cup final. Uh, it's like when we had the Papa John's trophy. I'm like, what? Anyway, what were your thoughts on that game? Bloody hell.
I thought it was a better performance than the last two games, than the Arsenal game and the Villa game.
Yeah.
Second half, though, I felt like we coasted, to be honest, which I haven't got a problem with. The game was over. I think after two,
I think at this point as well, the league is kind of over. It's
Yeah.
got to be hard for some of the players to be quite so motivated in the same way as to batter teams 5-0 every week.
I think as well, though, when you look at it, like we're not conceding goals. So as soon as it was 2-0, I think the players believed that was game over. And the West Ham players also believed that's game over. We're not going to score twice here. So it just sort of died out as a game, which is a shame. But from our point of view, I think you're going to get a lot of these performances now because I think we're trying to conserve energy going into the back end of the season.
Yeah, that's
I
a
think
good point, actually.
we're doing enough to win, but not more than that. And I think that's
I
with
don't
an
know why
eye on.
anyone's concerned, to be fair. Like it's just,
No.
It's another win. We're going invincible anyway. We're probably going to win the Champions League anyway. It's boring now, to be honest.
Look, I've got some quick fire winners. I didn't have any losers, which was nice. Nushkin, that was just a nice cold finish, round the keeper into the net. Oh, loved it. Micah Hamano, I mean, rapid, talented,
God,
special.
she just gets better and better, doesn't she?
Oh wow, what a player!
Honestly, watching her live,
of course,
is insane.
I agree with you, Chris. When I saw her play against City at the Bridge earlier in the season, and she was one of the best players on the pitch. She was absolutely outrageous, and for how young she is as
she's
well.
20.
She is going places.
Oh my word. Kira Walsh as well I had on here because it was almost like she always played for us, always played for Chelsea. I mean, she fitted in so well. I guess it does help when you regularly play with Bright, Hampton, James and Charles. So, it works, doesn't it? It works.
Look at that, Chelsea making a good signing.
Yeah, well, it's nice. So look, you've teased it. The champions we played, by the way, we played Manchester City in the final. There's an interesting thing on that because the Champions League draw was made earlier today and Chelsea were drawn against Manchester City in the quarterfinals. And you think that's a tough draw, isn't it, Mike? Yeah, it is. We then face either Wolfsburg or Barcelona in the semis.
Doesn't matter. We're winning it all.
But come on, it does mean we do. This is not effectively. We do play Man City 4 games in a bloody row in March. We've got the League Cup final, the first leg of this Champions League, the WSL game, then the second leg.
And we're going to win all 4. I'm telling you.
That's going to be
that's
going to be hard for both teams, I think.
These players are mentality monsters. We're gonna beat them all 4 games. We might draw 1.
But we're both elite clubs, and I think playing each other that many times in a row is going to be tiring for both sides.
You know why I think we have the upper hand? Our squad's better.
Oh, God,
and we beat them already this season. We've got the psychological edge.
I think we could quite easily put out 4 different starting 11s that are stronger or equally as strong as any 11 Man City could put out.
Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. So, Yeah.
So I think that plays into our hands massively. I think Man City in the end, towards the end of that run, so the second leg of the Champions League and the WSL game, I think are going to be starting to tire.
Do we know which leg of the Champions League game is at Stamford Bridge?
The second.
Oh, so is it Stamford?
Second? Yeah. It is at Stamford Bridge. All the Champions League games are. Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. So if the second leg is at the Bridge, like Chris
that
said,
is an advantage.
Yeah, we're gonna have the home advantage. We're gonna be able to kick on. I'd say even if we did lose that first leg, say 1-0, I still think we have the best odds of going through in the second leg.
Yeah, essentially it's whoever beats Barcelona wins that competition. It always has been.
I think the difference is as well. Like I think Man City are conceding a lot of goals.
Yeah,
and we're not. And
their starting keeper is out now.
Yeah,
isn't she? Keaton?
Yeah, they've got a good attack, so they could score goals, but we're not conceding loads. And I think if their defense is as leaky as it has been recently against our attack, I would back us. And then I think I said this a few weeks ago. If we beat Barcelona in that semi-final, we win the Champions League. Whereas I think if you're playing Barcelona, if we missed Barcelona, and we beat, say, Lyon in the semi-final, you're still thinking, oh, we have got Barca in the final, though. So if anything, I think it's probably better to play Barca in the semis.
Like you always say, Chris, if you're going to win the Women's Champions League, you have to play Barcelona in the end.
Yeah, you have to beat Barca at some point.
Yeah. Is it a one-leg game now? Because wasn't last year's... Was it... Why am I thinking it was two-leg?
No, it's two legs because we won at the Nou Camp.
That's what I was
last
thinking.
season, 1-0, and then we lost at Stamford Bridge 2-0.
I was trying to think. I was like, I'm sure. Was that last season? Was that season before?
It was last season. That was definitely last season.
I'm literally just looking at it now.
Aaron Cuthbert scored at the Nou Camp to give us a 1-0 win, and then we lost 2-0 at Stamford Bridge.
It's got to be this year.
Pretty sure.
It's got to be this year, I think, for the Champions League. And I know that sounds silly to say with like Sonia just getting here, and we've got so many bright stars for the future. But I don't know. It feels like, do you know, a bit like in 2012 when it felt like one of the last opportunities for that like core of players to win it. It feels a bit like that.
Yeah, it does, because you've got people aging or coming towards the end of their contracts. So,
like Millie Bright's getting older. Like, she's not going to be around forever, but she's an absolute rock at the back. And
sorry, I've just registered. It was the semi-final, not the final last year. That's why it was two legs. I don't know why I kept thinking it was two legs in the final. Idiot I am.
Maybe that was a bit quick of me to judge. Maybe it doesn't have to be this year, but I think it will be harder next year.
It'd be amazing if we did it in 1 year. In 1 year of Sonia, she just goes, everything. I mean, we did say at the start of the season, what would success look like? And we did say
quadruple.
So, fair play. Right. So for this Friday show, we're dusting off the At the Bridge Pod player rankings, where we rank our top 10 players right now, don't we? And let me tell you, it's been a minute. Last time we did this was the 14th of November. Since then, Chelsea have played 17 matches. Plenty of time for players to rise, fall, or just vanish into the abyss. Expect some serious shake-ups. I think we have to, consider it's been that long. And maybe you'll question my sanity with some picks. I don't know. So, form, consistency, big moments, factoring it all in. Some players, they've stepped up. Others dropped off a cliff. Of course, we're going to break them all down, roughly of a few sentences. And so with that, we're going to get straight into it. Okay, so we go for 10 straight away. And there is a sound drop coming, listener. You already know what it is now.
Oh God!
Shut up. It's I'm being mean to Ollie today. I don't mean to be.
All right.
I'm just refreshing the soundboard. There we go. I've got Philip Jorgensen at 10 again. He's made the cut. Well, listen now. Listen, hang on. He made the cut in the first time I did this. He disappeared last time. And look, how's he clawed his way back into the 10? Why? Because without
it's nothing to do with him, is it?
Honestly, why? Look, without the Jorgenaut, our only other option, Sanchez, and quite frankly, I'd rather not have that ever happen. So yes, Jorgensen is my 10th for that reason. So yes, he's very
I thought
important.
the sound drop was going to be number 10.
Number 10. No. We're not doing that. So Ollie, who did you have at
Number 10.
go on.
There it is. I've gone with Malagusto.
Oh,
Maybe seems like a slightly strange one because he's not really been at it this season at all. But for me, the more that I've kind of watched him play in that role, the more I've kind of understood that I don't think his dip in form is much to do with him at all. I think it's more to do with the position he's being asked to take up. And for me, I think to even be able to be passable at that position, like playing in a completely different area of the pitch a lot of the time to where he's usually playing, I think he's got to be quite an important player for that reason, because he's, for Maresca at the very least, he's like the utility man. He's the Swiss Army knife. He's the player who can sort of drop in and do a lot of different things. And I think our team probably doesn't quite function the same when he's not playing.
okay. Chris, who have you got?
To be fair, I really struggled with this list.
Same.
Yep.
Same.
Me too.
Really hard to find 10 players to praise. I've got Christopher Nkunku.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Mainly down to the assumption that Gu's going to be out long term.
Well, yeah.
If that's months, we've only got the rest of Feb, March, April, and then half of
most
May.
of the rest of the season.
Yeah. So if he misses the rest of the season, Nkunku is literally the only other option we have at number 9. Jackson's going to have to be rested. So Nkunku is going to have to step up and play. I think with Felix also leaving, it could open the door for him playing more in his sort of more favoured position behind the striker. So I think he could develop into it. But like I said, I did really struggle with this list.
Well, I have got my first
New entry.
at number 9. Welcome back to the bridge. Welcome to the power rankings, Trevor Chalobah, which I have learned is pronounced Trevo Chalobah, not Trevor. That says enough about me.
Yeah, it's like Trevor.
Okay.
Yeah. Look, let's be real. When he played against Wolves, he was impressive. We didn't bring him back to just warm the bench. He's here to make an impact, and I think he'll only go up from here. This is kind of where I've been sort of judging my rankings. It's based on how important they are as well as form. And I can, that's why, like why Chris, you've got Nkunku. It makes sense. As much as people go, but he's been shit. But he's about to be very important. So you've got to balance both sides of it. You know what? We'll snake back to you, Chris. Who have you got at 9?
I've got another new entry.
Ooh.
And I also have Trevor Chalobah.
Oh, love that.
I think him and Tosin, I think, is our best partnership. I know there's going to be people out there who have this weird obsession with Colwill and think that he's going to be some massive England star. I don't see it. He's too inconsistent. I don't think he's developed that much in the last 2 years. Even during his spell at Brighton, I never thought he was outstanding. I thought he was just okay. I think Chalobah could displace him eventually if his form doesn't pick up.
Oh wow. Well, Ollie, who have you got?
It's funny you should mention him, Chris, because I have Colwill at number 9, but it's almost a bit of an insult.
Dropped down from 5. Wow.
Yeah, drops from 5th to 9th, and in a sense, I actually, because this is a ranking about how important the player is, and back when we last did this in November, he for me was almost irreplaceable. And we've now kind of seen, especially with the mistakes he's been making, that that's just not the case. So I still think an important centre back for me, one of our better centre backs, but I don't think he's quite as important, at least not to me, as he was earlier in the season, and he's proven
That's
that
fair.
with his inconsistency.
No, you've made a very good point. So straight in at number 8. Do we have another?
Number 8.
Or do I have a
New entry.
I hate that
I
voice. I hate it. I hate it so much.
I have a brand new entry at 8. It's Tosin. Here's why. He's been a bit underrated, I think, lately. He's been a bit of a gem. And I've got stats to bring it up. He's got the highest pass accuracy per 90 in the squad, second most accurate long balls, third most clearances and blocks per 90. It's a bit stat padding that is like a prime NBA star, I guess. But the thing is, he's literally won us points with some last ditch heroics. I mean, I think the last 2 games he's made a block in the last dying embers of the game that have basically earned us points. That's not bad.
He scored a few goals as well. You know,
yeah, he's doing.
I like the pick. I like it, Marky. I rate it.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Chris. Ollie, we'll snake back to yourself.
At number 8, I have. Let's see who it is here. It's Noni Madueke.
Oh, wow.
Now Noni actually was not in my list at all.
No,
in the last one, and I was thinking about the wingers a lot, and I was thinking I think I have to put one of the wingers in, and for me I couldn't put Sancho in because I just don't think he does enough. And Neto, as much as we can like him and as much as he can maybe galvanize a game, he scored 2 goals all season. You know, like he just simply can't be the most important winger for that reason. At the end of the day, quantity has a quality all its own, and whether you like Madueke or don't, whether you like his attitude or don't, whether you like anything about him or don't, he's got more goals than all of our wingers do.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, there would be a fair few games this season where, you know, like where we might have dropped points if not for him. You know, it just seems to me that maybe he doesn't fully get the same. I don't know. He seems to get a lot more stick than a lot of the other wingers do, despite doing more than them.
Okay.
In terms of, so I think he's got to be up there.
All right, Chris, who have you got?
So it's so funny Ollie says that. Because I landed in exactly the same place on number 8 in terms of I think I have to pick one of the wingers, even though I don't rate any of them. But I landed in a slightly different place. So I landed on Jadon Sancho.
Oh my word! I completely forgot about him.
Is again another new entry. There's a theme here, and I picked Sancho because while I do agree with everything you just said, Ollie, about Madueke, I think Pedro Neto is equally as effective on the right-hand side as Madueke is.
Yeah, we've just not seen it much, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think we've got anyone else who can play on the left.
No.
So,
no, you're right.
You know, Neto's not as good on the left. Madueke can't play on the left. So Sancho really is our only option on that left-hand side in terms of a natural
point of view. I can see his importance. Yeah.
So I looked at it as which one of the wingers then is the most important, and I landed on Sancho because there's no one else who can play there. But again, I think you could toss a coin between the 3 of them, and it wouldn't make a jot of difference because I think all 3 of them are inconsistent and pretty bang average.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot about Sancho, man. Oh well, whatever. As we go, at 7, I have got Reece James. He's back. This time he seems to be made of something stronger than glass. He's already won us points with that free kick since returning. Look, let's be honest. We always need our captain. You always need a captain. He's up 3 spots from his last time because he was in at 10 last time. That's why he's there. Just don't get injured, man. Please don't. Back to you, Chris.
7, another new entry. Tosin.
Yes.
I think actually he might be underrated for the whole season. I can't think of a really, really bad game that he's had. I don't think he's had loads of great games, and I don't think he's a brilliant centre-back either. But we spoke about this, didn't we, Ollie? Our centre-back options aren't great. We haven't got a great centre-back. So they're all much of muchness. I just think Tosin, he brings a little bit of leadership, bit of experience, and has made some really important blocks, like you said, Mikey, in crucial games. I think he is a goal threat as well from set pieces. I think actually of our summer signings, he's probably up there for the best one.
Fucking hell, that says everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, and yeah, of course. Do you know what? It really, really does. But I don't think we can knock him for that.
No. Right, Ollie.
I mean, I have also gone with Tosin at number 7. I had Fofana last time, but obviously he's dropped out of the list entirely because he is made of paper mache.
Yeah.
I've gone with Tosin, same as Chris. Offers leadership. I think of all our centre backs, I think he has the least variance in his performances. And what I mean by that is probably doesn't have all of the best performances, but never has the worst ones. You know, like I don't think, like Chris said, I don't think I've barely ever watched him drop an absolute stinker in the same way that I've seen Chalobah do for us season after season, or seen Colwell do for us about 4, 5, 6 times this season already. And, you know, Fofana, he's just not fit ever. So I think when you look at him like that, he's our most reliable centre back. And I think in defence, you have to have a reliable player in there. So it's got to be him.
I think you are right there. I think the thing with Tosin is he's very much just a 6 or 7 out of 10. He's never going to be a 9, but he's never going to be a 4.
Yeah.
He just sits in the middle.
And you need that in a defender so bad.
You really do. I think Tosin's one of them where I think if you put him next to a really genuinely world class, you put him next to Van Dijk, I think everyone's raving about Tosin.
Yeah, it's a good shout actually. Right, 6 down 1. I've got Levi Colwill. Look, it's been frustrating. I know it has, but look, with Chalobah back, Tosin finds some solid form. I'm kind of hoping now, this is more hope than anything, that he's going to step up. Look, I was critical of the error on Monday leading to the West Ham goal. Those are mistakes you have to clean up. If you want to be a top player, you have to clean that up. You've got to park the ego. You've got to park it at the door, head down, focus on improving. The talent's there, can't deny that. I'm not going to forget it. Not many players are starting week in, week out at a top club at 21 in defence. They're not. I believe in him. I just need to see that ironed out. I just do. Because otherwise, we're going to see Chalobah, Tosin ahead of you. So at the moment,
the thing is for me with Colwell is like the thing that separates a good player from a great player is consistency.
You're right.
And we're yet to see that from Colwell. You know, like we've seen it a little bit in the earlier parts of the season, but it's just not enough yet.
Ollie, who's you got next?
Number 6, I've Reece James. He was in number 10 for me last time. Because I think he had just come back and that was before he got injured again, I think. But now he seems to be back. And he even landed awkwardly on his knee in one of the, in the game against West Ham, and we and we managed. He played through it. He didn't seem to struggle. Didn't have his best game, so maybe it was affecting him a little bit. But if he can play through something like that with landing on one of his knees, I'm tentative to say that he might be back for at least for a little while longer, because that is as bad as anything that will happen to you in training as a player, landing on your knee and like extending it like that. If it, last season that could have easily been him out for 3, 4, 5, 6 months.
Years.
Years. So, for him being back is so important to the team, leadership wise, mentality wise. He's one of the only players in the team that's actually won anything. You can just see the quality as well. Like clearly, like when he's on the pitch, it makes such a big difference. So yeah, he's in number 6. He'll climb this list if he stays fit.
Chris,
number 6, last new entry. So I've got Enzo Fernandez.
He dropped out of your list last time, did he?
Yeah, I don't think he was in either.
No, he wasn't. You have never had him this season.
Crikey. So he's grown
yeah,
into
you
it.
did. Sorry, Chris did. He had him in 6th on the 6th in September.
Oh, there you go. And he's back there now.
He's back, yeah.
Say what you like about Chris. He's nothing but consistent. He's world class.
I think he's steadily improving.
I don't know. He's back with his wife now, so we'll see.
I don't think he's pulling up any trees. Still, I'd still like to see more from him, but at the same time, I do think his performances have improved. I think he's become a more important player in the team. I think he's being more productive. He doesn't seem to be struggling quite as obviously now in terms of the defensive side of the game. I do think he he has sort of cemented his place now in that midfield. I think it's been helped by the fact that Lavia again is another one who's made of clay. But going forward, I just think he is going to be important because we don't have great depth in midfield. But I haven't minded watching his performances over the last month or so.
Right, that for Chris, for Enzo, that is massive praise.
It is.
Yeah.
I've got another player down one. I've got Nicholas Jackson, and this one. Why did I not do the sound drop?
Nicholas Jackson.
Look, it's been a bit of a shocker recently, hasn't it? I mean, he hasn't scored since the 15th of December. That's 9 league games ago. He has chipped in with 2 assists, though. He's still our second top scorer. And I wrote this sentence a few days ago, but it's very much applicable now. Let's be honest, though. Who else is starting as our striker? Oh, my word. Yes, after the Marc Hugh news, we're fucked. There's no one. Look, he needs to start converting more of those chances. You know, he's got an XG of 11.4 and he's bagged 9 goals. That's just underwhelming, man. I mean, I still back him to come good. I have no choice. No choice.
None of us have any choice.
Have no look. Listen, you might be going, yeah, but he's all right, or he needs to drop in. Who are you playing there? There's no one now. We didn't do anything in January.
That's who's playing.
Oh, we're screwed. Oh, Ollie, who have you got at 5?
Number 5. I had Levy Colwell there last time as he's dropped down to 9 for me. But I've got Enzo Fernandez in at number 5. But a bit like Chris, I think we have about 4 players who have been consistent in this list more or less the whole time, and the rest kind of come and go. And Enzo is just sneaks up to the precipice of that now because I'm pleased with his consistency. And a bit like Chris said, I think his performances have largely gotten better. I still want to see a bit more from him in terms of the goal scoring side. I want to see a bit more creativity from him. But I like the way he recycles the ball. I like the way that he kind of makes things tick in midfield. I also like that. Do you know, it's a bit like, you know how Caicedo came in and he really, really struggled for like 2 weeks. And then after that, he kind of bit by bit grew into himself and now he looks every bit the player we bought.
Yeah.
With Enzo, he's kind of done that. He's kind of struck me as doing that same progression, just much slower. And maybe it's because he's less of a physical player, and so it's taken him a while to adapt to the physicality of the league. You know, obviously Caicedo was in it already, you know, so maybe that makes a difference as well. Also, he's a more physical kind of player, but it strikes me now that Enzo is just slowly starting. I wouldn't say to become that player we all, thought he would be, because I think he's still got a way to go before he gets there. But I've been much happier with him in the last couple months than I have been with him like the entire time he's been here at Chelsea. So baby steps, but good progress.
What have you got, Chris?
Number 5, up 5 from 10.
Whoa.
Is Reece James. It looks like he's staying fit, and when he's fit, he's one of our best players.
Correct.
I do find it amazing with Reece James that he is able to be injured for so long and then come back and look instantly like he hasn't been injured for that long in terms of his performances.
Never looks rusty, does he?
No, it's what I mean. It's like effortless to him. I think with him and in the system as well that we're playing, his ability to drop in and play almost as a right-sided centre-back, sometimes step into that midfield, cover wingers 1v1 when he's out into the right-back positions, I think is crucial. And I think if he stays fit, we'll get more results down to him playing than if he wasn't there.
Do you know the only thing I noticed about Reece James recently? I noticed it the most in the West Ham game. I think he's lost half a yard of pace.
Yeah, he has.
for sure.
That could, but he's had surgery, hasn't he, on his hamstring?
Yeah.
So I would imagine that is just a byproduct of that.
Yeah, I think you couldn't expect him to come back and be exactly the same.
Yeah,
but the quality is the same. It's just the physicality, maybe not quite.
If it's shortened his hamstring in the surgery, then he will be slower. So,
Right, I've got at 4.
New entry.
It's the final one. It's Enzo Fernandez. He's never been in my rankings all season. He's rocketed.
That's high as well.
Right, he's rocketed into 4th. Why? Because
no one else can play in midfield.
Look, no, he's been. You know what? He has been an engine since our last check-in. And guess what? I'm using my eyes. I'm using the eyesight test. I see he's improving. The numbers are backing it up, and most importantly, the eyesight test for me has told me he hasn't had a single game where I thought you were dreadful.
That is so true.
And
that is so true.
I get bashed so much for using the eyesight. I'm like, I haven't seen a dreadful performance where I've gone,
no.
Why are you there? No.
And you know what? Even after the West Ham game, I saw some people trying to dig him out for, like just jogging back or whatever in the 90th minute or whatever. But yeah, he's just not had, like, especially last season, he had some games where we were like, you are dog shit, mate. And this season, we just haven't seen it.
Right. Who have you got at 4, Ollie?
Number 4, I've got Nicholas Jackson. He's down 1, I think. I think he was 3rd last time. He's he started really hot and he's dropped off a little bit this season as he's gone on. I like Nico. I like a lot of the things he brings to the team. He's not finishing at the moment. We all know that. Arguably, he is really important because when he started to struggle, our form fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
So it makes him quite an important player for us. Also, in a sense, less important because maybe another player could come in and do that job, but evidently not.
No.
I think if he can rediscover the form that he had earlier in the season, we get top 4 easily. And I think, a lot of it is down to him. I think there's a lot of the question about the mentality for him, like whether he can hack it as a striker for a team like Chelsea, pushing for Champions League and trying to win all the trophies we can and win all the games we can. It's a lot to take on for a young player. I still think he's a little bit stiff. I still think maybe his technical side is good, but maybe lacking some fundamentals, especially in the way he strikes the ball. But for me, he has to be one of the most important players of the club still, because, like you said, Mikey, there's no one else.
No one else. Chris, who have you got at 4?
Down 1, I also have Nicholas Jackson. I think with Jackson, I mean, he's still in 4th because he's our only striker. So it's difficult not to be important when you're the only player who can play there. Nicholas Jackson is Tammy Abraham. If everyone remembers Abraham's season, Lampard's first season, the transfer ban season.
Yeah.
I think he scored like 13 or 14 goals in the league. Might have been 15, actually. 15 Premier League goals, and everyone thought, well, he'll only improve from there. And then the season after, I think he scored 6.
You are spot on with both, yeah?
Jackson's exactly the same. 14 Premier League goals last season. We all thought, well, he can only improve from here. And actually, he's took a step back. He could still beat that number this season if he rediscovers a bit of form. But I still think he is really important to how we play. I think people underestimate the stuff he does outside of scoring goals. Like you said, he hasn't scored for 9 games, but he has got 2 assists in those games, and he has created other chances in those games as well.
Yeah. Would you say, though, as a striker, the most important thing is getting the goals? Like, you can do all the other stuff as much as you want, but if you're not scoring goals, unless you're like a Firmino, who's got playing like 2 wingers off you.
Yeah, you're right, but you have to contribute in some way if you're not scoring.
The reason why I wouldn't necessarily say that is because I think the striker role has changed so much over the last sort of decade that strikers are so much more now than just goals. Yeah. I think if your striker is the one you rely on to get goals, then yes, they have to be, the most important thing for them to do is to be scoring. Ollie Watkins at Villa, for example, they rely on most of their goals coming from him. So it's really important that he's getting goals. The truth is, our best goal scorer is Cole Palmer. So
True.
if Jackson is setting up Palmer, it wouldn't matter that Jackson wasn't scoring. It's very much what Firmino did for Salah and Mane at Liverpool. It's very much what Giroud did for Hazard. At the time, Giroud wasn't our main source of goals. Hazard was the player you was looking at to win us games. So as long as Giroud got something out of him, it worked fine. I think Jackson's similar with Palmer. I just think Jackson looks so downtrodden now, and he's lost all his confidence. I think he's snatching at a lot of things now. I think it's got on top of him.
Any striker goes 9 games without scoring, they're not exactly
you're
going to
right.
be brimming with it, are they?
It's exactly what happened to Tammy Abraham in the second season. He went a few games without a goal. The pressure of that shirt and being the Chelsea striker got to him. He started snatching at chances, and eventually it drifted away. But I'm hoping Jackson can get it back. Because I think what happened with Abraham is I think eventually he got dropped, and Jackson, fortunately for him, that's not going to be an option. So no. I'm just hoping that eventually he plays his way back into form, because if he does, I agree with you, Ollie. I think if Jackson gets back to anywhere near how he was in the first part of the season, I think we make top 4 comfortably, because we've got that player who's scoring 1 and 2.
Right. Third again now. Marc Cucurella. Honestly, he's locked it down even tighter now. Why? He's our only left back standing. But look. I'm not gonna fool you. Don't let it fool you. He's here on merit. He's got passion. He's got bloody energy. He's a non-stop menace in the final third. He presses like his life depends on it. He flies into challenges. And look, he's like our 2025 David Luiz. That's why he's there. I can't say anything more. Chris.
Up 1 into third is Marc Cucurella.
Oh.
I was asked at a school the other day by one of the kids, who's your favourite Chelsea player?
Oh.
And I thought, man, that is a good question.
Chris said none of them, and then booted that kid in there.
They're all shit.
I had to think for ages, like, wow, who is it actually? I didn't want to say Cole Palmer because it's really obvious. Yeah. The only person I could think of was Marc Cucurella. Yeah. I love his energy. I love the way he plays. I love the fact that you can see he loves playing for Chelsea. He brings energy. I think the role he's asked to do as well is really difficult. He's asked to be a left back, a centre mid, a number 10, a striker. He plays 4 roles in one game, which is incredibly difficult to do. I think he's brilliant. I honestly do.
Right, Ollie, who have you got?
Up 1 from 4th last time. It's Marc Cucurella.
Wow, love it.
Completing the trifecta. He is. Like you say, firstly, he's important because who else are we going to put in there unless we're suddenly going to start giving Samuel Smith a run out, which doesn't look all that likely. Although I did hear he was put on the in the squad for the Brighton game, so you never know. Maybe it's just because we need the cover. But yeah, like Chris says, plays about a million different roles, all to a fairly good standard. In the same way that Tosin always gives you a 6 out of 10, Cucurella will always give you a 7.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. Chips in with the odd goal as well, which is really important. Always has a boundless energy. I think I said this last time. Sets the standard for the team in terms of that physicality with the mentality. And just deserves to be where he is right now. Just really deserves it.
Okay, right. Number 2, still at 2 for me. He is our Maverick. It is Cole Palmer. 20 goals and assists this season in the league. 7 goals since we last did the rankings. And why isn't he not number 1? Because he does often ghost out of games. But when he's on form, he wins us points. He's our second best player right now. Simple. Chris.
I also have Cole Palmer holding steady at number 2. I think, again, between him and number 1, you can toss a coin, and whichever way it landed, you're not going to be upset. I just think with Cole Palmer, I'm not crazy about the role he's being used in. I think we could be getting more from him. But it shows how much of a good player he is that we're still getting those sort of numbers from someone who I think is being misused. It's the whole last season we had the whole argument over Enzo Fernandez being misused, and that's why he wasn't playing well. Truly top class players will perform even if they are being misused, and Palmer's doing that. He's still absolutely class, even though it's a struggle for him because of the tactical setup. I just think he's someone who we've really got to improve if we want to keep hold of him, because if we keep bouncing around Europa League, Europa Conference League, I don't give a shit that he's on a 9-year contract. He'll start angling for a move because he's too good. He's too good not to be playing in the Champions League.
Ollie, who have you got?
A bit different from you guys. He was number 2 last time, but he stays at number 2 for me. It's Moises Caicedo. And like Chris says, I think it's a much of a muchness for who you could have at number 1. For me, Caicedo is a really, really important player for us. Maybe just not quite as important as our number 1. But for me, Caicedo offers an awful lot. He doesn't offer goals, which might be the one difference maybe between him and number 1. But he offers you, in a way, something almost better at times, and that's midfield solidity. Because how many billion times did we say last season you could sail a battleship through our midfield? With the spaces. And this season, playing in slightly tighter spaces, he's really, really proven that he's not just a destroyer who can win the ball back and have a lot of energy and run up and down the pitch. He's also someone who can make a lot of passes into the final third, who can really affect the game going forward. Now, like I said, does he score goals? Not really. I would love to see him add a couple more to his game, not just from the halfway line.
He only scores worldies.
Yeah. But for me, I can't say enough good things about Caicedo. I would run through a brick wall for him, I think.
I mean, for me, why is he number 1 for me? I mean, he's our MVP. I mean, he's racked up. This is insane. He's racked up 2,125 Premier League minutes, more than anyone else in the squad. He's essential. Palmer has had his blink and you're missing moments, but Caicedo's always there. He sweeps up messes like a cleaner on triple overtime. He does the dirty work that no one else wants to. And if he gets injured, forget derailing the season. The whole station just goes up in flames. The tracks melt. The train ends up in the Thames. We're fucked. We're fucked. That's literally why he's number 1, because just that consistency. I mean, Chris, before we hear why Ollie's got Palmer, why is Caicedo 1?
Consistency. I think he's having a season where he doesn't have a bad game. Even when he has a bad game, it's still average. So it's not a bad game. We haven't got anyone else. If he wasn't playing, there's literally no one else in our team, and there's probably only 1 or 2 midfielders in the league who you could put in there who could do similar to what he does. I think the injury to Rodri at Man City has shown how important that midfielder is, and Caicedo is our Rodri in that sense. And I do think he is underrated on the ball. I think he does a lot of good work in possession. He's not just about winning the ball back and giving it to somebody else.
He's got something like it might just be at Chelsea, or it might be in the league. He's got more passes into the final third than any other player.
Wow. That's what I mean. Like, I do think he is underrated on the ball. I think he's a complete midfielder. I do agree with Ollie. I think if he could add even 3 or 4 goals a season, I think you're looking at the complete Premier League midfielder. Everything you would want in a midfielder is Caicedo.
Yeah. Ollie, why is Palmer 1, by the way?
Well, at the end of the day, talent-wise, he is our best player. And goals win you games, and he has the most of those. And I think even when he has struggled, even when he has ghosted out of games, he still found ways to impact games, a bit like Salah does at Liverpool, where not quite in the same way, where he'll score 3 goals and you can't remember a single thing he did. But he does still pop up with a goal quite often, even if he does struggle. Like, for example, I didn't think he was really all that good against West Ham, but still forced the own goal from Wan-Bissaka, which got us back into the game.
Yeah.
Actually, it took us ahead, didn't it? Took us into the lead.
Yeah.
And which turned out to be a really, really important 3 points. And Palmer's full of little moments and things like that. And I think if he properly did have a drop in form, if he wasn't as good as he is, right? And he was a one season wonder last season, all the stars aligned, and this season his form fell off a cliff completely, and you just didn't know what happened. It's like he'd never kicked a ball before. We would be
Hazard 15, 16.
Yeah, if he has a Hazard 15, 16 year this season, we'd be in what, like 12th?
Yeah, easily.
So like he is in effect the only reason we even are still pushing for top four, and that's why I think he's the most important player in the team.
That's
okay.
fair.
Let us know, listener, what we got right, what we got wrong. Just let us know. I'm sure.
Don't tell us what we got wrong. We don't want to hear it.
Just tell us we're right, because we are. All of us are right. That's the fact. So moving on. Right, so it is now time for Lion of the Week. But we, of course, this weekend we're heading to Brighton in the FA Cup 4th round. So the scoop. What's the state of Brighton right now? Well, they're currently sitting in 10th. They've got a record of 8 wins, 10 draws, and 60 defeats. I'm going to literally say the same thing next week because this is the FA Cup. Recent form: 2 wins, 1 draw, back-to-back defeats though. When it comes to the FA Cup, they did beat Norwich away from home in the 3rd round, 4-0. There you go.
Big scalp.
The big scalp.
Some people in these households like Norwich, right?
Well, the player spotlight. Look, we face Brighton next Friday as well, so it's kind of important to consider that the lineup might shift because it's an FA Cup fixture. You'd probably expect players to be rested, though hard to predict because it's a week between games. Fuck knows. That said,
and we've got no players.
That's true. That said, as well, Chris has made a good point. Judging by their round 3 game against Norwich, Jorginho Rutter stands out obviously as a threat. He scored twice against Norwich and then against Ipswich and Man United recently. He's drew a blank though in games against Everton and Forest, but could play a pivotal role. Alongside him, I'd say keep an eye on João Pedro, Yankuba Minter, and of course Danish maestro Matt O'Reilly. He's always a valuable asset. And
he's fit again now.
Yeah, he's back. Yeah, he's back. The last time Brighton beat Chelsea in the FA Cup was the first time we ever played them, which was back on the 14th of January 1933.
What was the number one?
Well, I'm really glad you asked me that because it wouldn't be a preview.
George Formby on the Maginot Line.
without me telling you what was the UK number 1 hit. And there was nothing. There was no UK top 40 back then. I can't tell you what was happening.
It was 1933.
I've got fuck all. I've got fuck all for you. So, who are you picking? I was picking Jackson, but I don't think he's going to play. So I'm going to have to really pivot. And pivot. Who am I going with?
I'm going to go with someone who I know will play both games. Caicedo.
Oh, fuck's sake! Yeah, that's a good shout.
Yeah, I'm going to go Chalobah.
Wow. Okay. Let me write this into the document. I'm going to go in Kunku, and I really don't want to. I really don't want to.
Could be worse.
Please write that.
You could have picked Dewsbury Hall.
No, fuck off. Not doing it. Not doing it. You've got Caicedo. Hang on, let me write this in. I love writing it in. And Chris went with Chalobah. Oh dear, I'm only going attacking. What did the wheel go with? Come on, wheel. You're going to go in Kunku as well? I've got to take Chilwell off the wheel now, actually. He doesn't play for us.
You could take half those players off the wheel now.
Well, yeah, they're not fit. Oh. Well,
Robert Sanchez.
You are close.
Oh, Jorgen's.
Go on, Jorgen's.
He won't play. He won't play.
No. Who plays it?
I really hope he plays.
Robert Sanchez will start.
Bergstrom.
Telling you.
Bergstrom. Right, we have got questions. Quaresma's questions as I pull out my phone that I always seem to be shocked by. What have we got? Ellis, why is Gary Neville still commentating Chelsea games? The man has a clear agenda. He kind of does, actually. He never likes us doing anything positive.
It's because we ruined his day a few times back in the late 2000s when he was still a player for Man United. I don't know why he still gets our games though, because you're right, even Carragher likes us more.
I just say I love this question. This was 2 days ago before we knew. McClund put in who is the best fit striker from Maresca's system. We don't know anymore. I don't even
Yeah,
know.
I've
If
no idea, mate.
is Nkunku a striker?
We haven't
Is
got
he
we haven't
better?
got one.
No,
We ain't got a fit one.
we're fucked. Man, that U news actually really took me by. I mean, he looked upset, but I didn't think he'd be out
Yeah.
for months.
Yeah, and do you know what? After that game, Maresca said he was like, he said he was all right. Obviously he hadn't had the time to like properly go over like what had happened, I guess. But man, oh man, I feel for him because he really had a good opportunity, and he
Yeah.
looked like you said, he looked upset. He knew it.
He
as
was
well.
Yeah,
devastated.
he did.
Right, well, we've only got one more thing to do, and that is me looking for everything. There we go. Lone Army Carousel. And today's category is the Lone Army Carousel. Because for the first time, I'm taking the name of the game quite literally, because I want you to name me every single player Chelsea have sent out on loan since the 2022-23 season. And I know you're now sat there thinking, that's not long ago. Well, damn, we'd be here all day because I had 32 names on this list.
Oh,
Jesus
32
Christ.
names on this list, all courtesy of Transfer Marked. I couldn't believe I was going to do from 2020 season onward, and then I saw how many. I was like up to 60 odd names. I'm like, wow, I can't do that. Fuck. So with that, Chris, give me a name.
Romelu Lukaku.
Yes.
João Felix.
Dear me. Yes.
Ian Matson.
Ian Matson.
Axel Tissazi.
Yep.
Slanina.
Yes. Gaga.
Andre Santos.
Yes.
Penders.
Oh, lovely.
Right, Enders. Raheem Sterling.
Yes.
Oh, nice. Colwell.
Oh, yes.
Petrovic.
Yes.
Good shout. Callum Hudson-Odoi.
Yes.
Ben Chilwell.
Yeah.
Ampadu.
Yeah. He did. Can't remember where. One of the clubs.
Well, yeah,
Ugachukwu.
one of the shit ones he
Yeah,
went to.
he's on there. Leslie Ugachukwu is on there.
Oh, struggling now. Datro Fofana.
Yes.
Chukwuemeka.
Chukwuemeka.
Kepa.
Kepa.
Vega.
Vega.
Oh, good shout. Cassidy.
Cassidy.
Broya.
Broya.
Hakeem Ziyech.
Yes.
Alfie Gilchrist.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're doing really well, I must say.
great shout.
Can't believe you've not said one name, and it's so good. I can't. I will hold my excitement.
I don't know whether he's already been said. Bashir Humphries.
Yes, he's on there.
Anselmino.
Yeah, who might play tomorrow apparently.
He's acclimatised to England now, is he?
Very quickly. Yeah.
Lewis Hall.
Lewis Hall.
Angelo.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic.
Remember him?
Remember him? Yeah, he's out.
Yeah. Caleb Wiley.
Yes.
Amari Hutchinson.
Yeah. Wow, you are really close to the finish line now.
Chalobah.
Chalobah, yeah. 4 names left.
Didn't we say him already? Did we not?
No.
Diego Moreira.
Yeah. Back to Chris. 3 names left.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my word.
Oh, I only know this because of FIFA. Leo Castledine.
You know what? I'll allow it Even though it's not on the list, I feel that's allowed because he was sent out on loan from our club. Yeah, I'll allow that.
Malang Sarr.
Yes. Oh, lovely. There's 2 players left. Wow. No way.
Alex Matos.
He's not on the list. Ollie could win it. He could win it with one of the 2 names.
Who was it? Do you know who?
the fuck
I
is
think
that?
I've got it. Do you know who really overstayed their welcome at this club?
How many loans do they have, Ollie?
A lot.
Is it about 7?
I don't know if it was that many. I'm going to go with Timeo Bakayoko.
No, he didn't. He wasn't on loan. He'd already left before 22-23.
Damn it.
I might have given a clue there. Chris is back in. There's 2 names. 2 names. 7 loans. I did give a clue there.
I think I know it.
One of the players. One of the players. One of the players has already been mentioned on today's show.
I hate it when you do that.
I said
I immediately run back through my head about.
I said it. I've said the name.
That doesn't help, Mike. These shows are too long these days.
I've really forgot who we've said now. The only other one I can think of who went out on loan, but I think Ollie might have already said him, is that Diego Moria.
Yeah, he's already said. Do you have any ideas, Ollie?
I think I actually do know it.
Go on.
Is it Barbara Rahman?
Oh, he's done it! Oh, he's done it!
Yeah, Barbara Rahman was with us for like 8 years, but never played.
He last played for us in like 2015.
It says here he went on like 7 loans. Wow!
Oh man!
I think that was a good game, Ollie. Well played.
Yeah, fair enough, mate.
If you wondered, Ollie's took the lead by the way, 3-2 now.
Wow.
It was Lucas Bergstrom who I literally said when we did that. Yeah. He's the only other goalkeeper. So, yeah. Oh, listeners, we're at the end of another episode. Before we go, of course, proud to remind you about our partnership with Head in the Game, the mental health charity using football to support wellbeing in the community. Check them out, headinthegame.co.uk. Treat yourself well. We'll be back on Monday because we have winners and losers from Chelsea and Brighton, and Chris will break down the women's game. So, yeah, until next time, that's going to be us signing off. You've been listening to At The Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for At The Bridge Pod. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leaving us a review is always appreciated.